Now you're saying things. Here, wipe your tears with $100 bills, A tomato in itself cannot hold multiple vehicles.
I just want to see how long we can keep going.
Yeah, it's nuts.
You are listening to the #1 podcast in the world, at least according to two people. Welcome to Absolutely Relative with Sam and Joel.
It is just unfortunate that I am also surrounded by a couple of people that so happen to be the kind of people that are like, this is what I think is right. And the moment you stray any way away from this becomes...
I just think they've got a very compartmentalized and rigid view of morality. Look, sometimes you do need that. I think there are ways where that can be beneficial as opposed to being very loosey-goosey with morality.
I think so. I think there are certain pillars that can be universal.
Well, okay, here's my personal experience with people like that, right? Like, I think they're able to make decisions really quickly because of their very strong ideas of morality. And I think they can get a solution happening really quickly. It might not be the perfect solution, but it's the solution that ticks the boxes of their morality compass or moral identity or whatever you want to call it. It does get shit done. Like, I'm never going to deny that. I think I'm slow at getting things done.
It bothers me every time how less efficient I am because of that.
But the upside of, I guess, my kind of more, whatever you want to call it, approach is just that whatever solution you do come up with eventually, it is a solution that acknowledges the people within that and then also be able to kind of say, and just understand them better as people and be able to deepen a relationship.
It's a lot more like holistic, empathetic, I think. Because I also don't think the people that are rigid in terms of their morality lack empathy. I think it's very specific type of empathy in the sense where it's directed in this way. So like I've seen people who do hold themselves to this kind of standard. I think having a moral standard isn't a bad thing. The realistic scenario, a lot of these people also have some wiggle room and they understand that even though you do not tick the box, we know that you're making an active effort to tick the box.
Sure. I've had a friend who had a very strong opinion about drug use. I was just telling them about an artist that happened to unfortunately pass away because of overdose. And their response was just like, yeah, but they shouldn't be doing drugs. Instead of why were they doing drugs in the first place? And were they in a good space mentally? Or what were their kind of character weaknesses? And what was the circumstances that brought them to kind of like fall into drug use? Turns out if you were to listen to this artist's songs and whatever, you'd see a lot of kind of motifs about trying to escape from the kind of mental health issues that they were going through, feelings of alienation, loneliness, whatever.
You think you could name the artist?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mac Miller.
Okay. I've heard his story.
That was the person that I was talking about. And when he passed, I don't know if you've heard like Good News, for example, some of his songs. Come Back to Earth is another. But anyway, point being is just that he kind of, his last couple of albums were really about his struggles with like kind of mental health and stuff like that. Or at least there's a lot of motifs.
So like he has been actively like thinking about it, obviously, which is why they make it into these works of art that he's produced, like his music. And
kind of the way that he puts like drug use in his songs or like creative writing is the fact that he uses it to combat the kind of like dark feelings that or like he feels like he needs to use it to just get away from whatever, like point being is that. And then it's not that he sees drugs as something to be lauded at or praised, but it's a tool to get him out of whatever place he was in. So it's not the whole like, oh, I'm gonna talk about how great it is to do drugs or whatever. No, like it's not that.
He's not trying to glorify drug use.
Exactly. So anyway, back to the original story. It's just like my friend's immediate reaction kind of was super telling about just how they viewed particular decisions. I'm trying to be as fair to them. Like if someone were to tell me that someone passed away because of overdose, for example, if that were to happen to me, I just imagine how I'd react. I think first and foremost, I'd be like, oh my God, that's unfortunate. Did you know why they were put in such a situation? Is what I would ask immediately, I think.
Instead of
saying like, they shouldn't have just done drugs. So that's the kind of like different approach. It's a subtle approach, I think. It's subtle difference.
It's a subtle difference to the interaction in the beginning of it, but it's a major difference when you break it down.
Yeah.
Because to say that they shouldn't be using drugs, like
it's like you know better,
Yeah.
and you know
So-
versus I want to know more about
Yeah.
you know, like
those two are very different things. One is very one-sided. This is what I think of you, and one is like, can you tell me more about what you are going through in that sense? Okay, I think just as a disclaimer for anyone listening, irregardless of the approach, at the end of the day, we're not condoning that you should take hard drugs. At the end of the day, we need to say that, Sam, we both still think that drugs is not the answer. And Sam is like kind of waving his hands in the air.
no, I'm not. You're saying things.
He's making very visual references on an audio podcast.
No, I am not. Joel, you don't have proof of whatever it is that I'm doing.
At the end of the day, both me and Sam, I speak on behalf of Sam because Sam, unfortunately, is not capable of seeing it this way.
Suddenly I'm unfortunate.
We do not condone drug use, and we think that there are better ways to find coping mechanisms. There are ways in which you can find more sustainable approaches to getting better in terms of your mental health. Yes, it is devastating to hear about all these stories of people that have gone through
who felt the need to use drugs.
It is unfortunate that they've had to go through the painful experiences that they have, and I'm not trying to belittle any of those, but we personally do not think that drugs is the answer to mental health. Yes, psychiatric doctors can prescribe medication that helps take the edge off, and it is only meant to put you on the track so that you can self-sustain as a human being and cope and find ways to be healed and be better. The drugs are not there to be
I guess the
like
best
a
way to put
training
it
wheel.
is recreational recreational hard drug use is not something we condone.
Definitely. And if you do require any form of medication, make sure it is from
Or
a
if
doctor.
you need help with
Yeah.
ongoing addiction problems,
Yeah.
please
Go see someone.
Go see someone, see your local.
See someone. Talk to a friend that you trust, and I think that's always the first step. Being people who've been through mental health issues.
It's not an easy thing.
It's not easy.
For anyone that does take those first steps in trying to better themselves, it's a big step, and you should be very proud that you are doing that for yourself.
Correct. Coming back to the heart of the conversation, this person's approach was very cutthroat, is what I think.
Well, cutthroat is harsh, but
Okay.
in the same way, like
That's how it looks.
And I get how it looks because for better or worse, they've been brought up in a very I wouldn't say rigid, but very kind of rigid. Is technically the correct term, but a very black and white moral environment. And nothing wrong with that, because what they think is right is genuinely right.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the correct answer.
But only when it comes to what is wrong, sometimes might not necessarily always be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I would say that there are scales of wrong, scales of right as well.
This is where you and I have issue with the rest of the populace that does not see it this way, where like we try to go and break down into, okay, let's try to see where in the scale we exist and they exist, and see if we can find some common ground. Whereas there are types of people out there that are just like, I think this is right.
Like the best example of this that I always tell people, right? Like this scales of wrong thing, it will be a little bit wrong to call a tomato a vegetable. But it'll be very, very wrong to call a tomato a suspension bridge.
Yeah.
Like it's just more wrong than the other. One wrong is it's a matter of botanical categories, but it's not really that wrong when you use it in the culinary sense. Even in American like tariff law, a tomato is still considered a vegetable because when there are tariffs for particular vegetables, a tomato will fall under the vegetable category and not fruit. Don't ask me how I have these esoteric knowledge on
just random pieces of information.
The point being that I'm trying to make is that there are things that are a little bit wrong, and then there are things that are like very, very wrong. Like I wouldn't drive my car over a tomato over a body of water because it's not a suspension bridge. A tomato in itself cannot hold multiple vehicles to cross over a body of water.
I just want to see how long we can keep going.
Yeah, it's not physically possible for that to happen, by the way.
All right, okay.
I'm not sure if you've seen a tomato big enough to hold multiple vehicles to cross a body of water, but I sincerely doubt that is anything anyone has ever seen.
What did tomatoes do to you? Why are you like this? Did you break up with someone that used to love tomatoes?
No comment.
Why is this causing you so much hurt? Why are you so interested in this topic? And you happen to know too much you happen to know at least 5 things more than I do about tomatoes, and that's 5 things too many. That's 4 things too many.
I mean, who doesn't know about American tariff laws and the judicial dispute about?
Dude, I don't think the people who wrote the laws are even aware that they wrote them. You do. You are aware.
See, you learn more things every day when you listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Knowledge. That's a
You know
Tai
what's
Lopez.
more valuable than all these Lamborghinis in my garage? Knowledge. I wonder whatever happened to that guy.
Tai Lopez?
Yeah.
I don't know where he is, dude. Like, I think there was a time when he was viral because of that Lamborghini in the garage video.
It's just meme history for now.
Here's what I think about that entire category. Sure. I think back then there were people that dominated the guru, how to get rich type of category, and then people saw that as a trend, and then there's a lot of genuine gurus that have come out of that. People, financial experts, been working in this industry with actual credentials.
Sure.
And there's people in the other branch who are just bogus gurus, and the whole industry has just become saturated that the old people are just non-existent anymore, or they used to be medium fish in a small pool. Now they're just medium fish in a giant ocean.
Right.
That's what happened to those kind of people. I think that's why people like Tai Lopez, I barely hear about him anymore. People like Dan Lok, I'm not sure if you're aware. I think he's Chinese. He's Asian. He's definitely some form of Asian.
Okay.
He used to have a course about how to do sales and stuff.
Right.
There's people who tried to teach affiliate marketing and stuff like that. But I think, the masses just came and drowned them out. I mean, the more someone sees something is trending, I think there's always going to be, in the creator industry, which I'm only now getting more familiar with, is that the moment someone tries to do something, there's a billion of other people trying to match that and try to get off of that virality.
Sure.
But I've never seen myself as that kind of creator. I think for me, it's just, what do I want to talk about and what do I want to make? And then if others so happen to enjoy that, great. If they don't, then just keep scrolling, But yeah, that's where that guy went.
By the way, you're a creator,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I forgot to, did I mention that I'm a creator?
No. Could you repeat that a couple more times, actually?
I'm a creator.
Wow. One more time, actually.
I am a creator.
Wow. Who knew?
Who knew, right? I create. You know what I'm doing right now?
No way.
I'm creating.
Wow.
Yeah, this is content. You're a creator too.
Anyway, going back to the original point, I think there's scales of right or wrong.
We just went off to this Tai Lopez tangent, but
knowledge.
Yes. Here's something I want to ask you on the front of emotion. I used to be in the mentality that I don't necessarily see complete fault in. And maybe you can give in your input. I used to think that people's emotions are theirs to manage.
Okay.
And say, for example, you have an emotion that is related to the situation before you that another party is involved in.
Okay.
Maybe between us, you and I,
for example,
you have a certain emotion. You don't like me.
Okay.
Your dislike of me is yours to manage. And I should not be concerned emotionally with your emotions.
You should not be concerned?
I should not be concerned. Your emotions are yours to deal with.
Okay.
My emotions shouldn't be affected by your emotions. But my actions should be based on your communication, of course. So if you tell me that, hey, don't do this, then I'll not do that thing. But it is not my responsibility to ensure that your emotions are at bay.
Okay, I would agree to that depending on the relationship. So
Right.
I would say when you are in a really close inner circle with people, I think it does their emotional well-being I wouldn't say is a responsibility of other people, but I would say it's a responsibility that I would willingly or readily or or wanting to or inevitably take up on, just because of how much depth there is in the relationship, in the sense where if you are going through shit, or like, for example, if we had a thing, the fact that I know you are currently pissed off at me, I think is something that I want to handle as well, so that I don't want you to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm doing it not because of, for example,
not because you can now stop me from being pissed off.
I'm not gonna be able to regulate what you're feeling, but I will do whatever it is in my power to kind of like address that emotional distressing situation that you are in, because I personally want you to be in a state of good emotional well-being.
Yeah.
And I readily say that I want to hold some responsibility in doing that, because I want to be able to make the time that we spend together not just an emotional burden on you, if that makes sense. I want it to be a shared kind of thing. And to call it even a burden isn't quite correct, really. It's more just like the responsibility of being emotionally well is something I would like to share with people that I'm close to. Again, I'm a bit more prone in wanting to doing more for, like, giving more for the people around me than I am about, you know, people doing that to me. But these days it's been something that I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's good to kind of just be able to get someone to also be there for me and
to sort of allow yourself to receive.
To share emotional responsibilities, how I'd put it. And again, this is reserved for people that I'm really, really comfortable with, like super, super close. Generally, I want to say in the vast majority of my relationships, it's like, you deal with your emotional well-being. I'm available to listen and to kind of like, you know, give my input, and to if that is something that they would prefer, or I would ask as well, like, hey, if you want to talk about it, sure, I'll be able to do that. But I'm not like in a super active role in like in doing that. There's also a range to this. The closer you are, the more willing I am to share emotional responsibility. But the further away you are, then it's like, like it's my kind of take on it.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with you as well. I think nowadays I've been more leaning towards, yes, I will accept responsibility for your emotions than the other. And I think the reason for my decision to do that, sometimes even not even with close people, but like people that I interact on a regular basis, simply because I do not want to be the kind of guy that is insensitive or ignorant to anyone, because I'm afraid of that. It's not that I have been. There's actually not been a lot of instances where I actually have been like insensitive or whatever. But because I am aware of how I can be at times where I struggle to understand what's going on, I start to become all the more cautious. In general.
In a way, it's almost like an insecurity, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's the whole like, I would rather be abused than abuse anyone. I would rather be offended than offend someone.
Whereas the healthy way about doing this would probably be like, nobody should feel abused.
Nobody should.
Yeah. And like, let's, you know, create a space that we are able to both not be hard done by in anyway, to the best of our abilities, you know. I
find it difficult to be around people who I know for sure do not have any form of actual basis for the way they conduct themselves. It's just
you and I both, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people will have a problem with people.
I would expect at least maturity. Signs of maturity is when you know why you're doing what you're doing. And sometimes people know, but they do so anyway. And that's just you being a prick and you being a terrible person, because now you know you're wrong and then you are continuing.
See, that's when I would consider that malicious.
That is malicious. That is malicious when someone does that. But other than that, I don't think it's a sustainable way to look at life, because one day you will have to come to terms with yourself and you will have to live with yourself. And if you continually be the kind of person of like, who's like, I'm gonna just do stuff that I feel irregardless of what I think and whether there's any reasoning behind it, then if you continue to carry yourself as that person, then you are at the end of your life, at the sum of everything, you will have done a lot of harm, of course, because you have been ignorant all this while. But secondly, you have not capitalized off of the opportunities you've had to become a better person. So you do not really evolve beyond what you have right now.
The thing is, right, I think a lot of people still find that attractive because the upside of not caring about other people and the upside of just caring about yourself and taking advantage of every advantage you can take advantage of, is that you'll get super far. You'll probably be really wealthy. You'll probably be very powerful, famous. You get to kind of just be a person of a lot of stature, I guess, in many different ways. And to them, it's more important to take care of themselves than it is to take care of any other person. Because then they'll say like, look, when I'm rich, powerful, and famous, then I can be as nice a person as I want to be, even though they probably never will be. But the point is like, I have the means to do whatever the hell I want. Or who gives a shit about what people think? And with that kind of, I guess, mentality, I do find a lot of people kind of attracted to that idea as well. And again, I don't deny the luxury of it all and the attractiveness of it all, but at the same time, it's also very, I don't know, like at some point almost like sad. And then it's like the people who are rich, powerful, famous could probably be like, here, wipe your tears with $100 bills, and I get that as well. Like I don't need, and they'll probably say like, I don't need you to be sad about me because I'm rich, powerful, and famous, and it's, I guess to me, it's like, if I were to live that life, it would just feel very empty. And that's just a me thing.
Correct me if you think this is a weird take, but I think people like us, and I don't want this to seem like we're trying to glorify ourselves, but people like us are often the people who have been through shit very early on and been through shit consistently in their life. That kind of shapes the way they have had to interact with the people around them, which is why they're a bit more empathetic. They're a bit more like, there's no black and white. They're trying to be as receptive to others as possible in that sense, because they've burnt someone or they have been burnt themselves.
Or both.
Yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes it is those kind of people that I find myself being a lot more inclined to in relationships. I think it is those people that I have more sustained friendships with, regardless of the differences that we have. And earlier on today, I mentioned about the people that would love to spend time with me, who desire to see me whenever they go to places that I'm commonly found, right? It is often those kind of people who have been through a lot of hardship on their own and have had to deal with the kind of people that are very cutthroat, very black and white. Of course, like we mentioned earlier on today, like they're not completely in the wrong either, but it's those kind of people that I find myself gravitating towards. And I think there's something to say, I feel, about the amount of hardship you go through in life and how that shapes you on an emotional, on a mind level. A lot of people could use that and become hardened and have forms of boundaries established.
Very big walls.
And I don't think, again, like to each their own, they react in the way that they feel is most adequate.
It's probably justified to have those big walls.
Definitely. I find myself admiring also the people who've had the strength to process what they've been through and try to make something out of that. Allow that to sort of shape them in a way that is not bitter or angry or negative in any way. They try, of course there are negative elements to it, but they try their best to take those negative experiences and make the most out of it. And those are often the people that I tend to gravitate towards and tend to gravitate towards me as well, which I'm grateful for, There are often people that I see out there that, again, like I said earlier, hate me for the sake of hating me because they think it's cool. And I'm not...
For whatever reason.
Whatever reason. Just, again, like
who is to know?
And that used to bring me down a lot. That used to make me feel like, am I really a hate-worthy person? Like, I know I'm annoying. I know there's parts of my character that are abrasive, that make people feel annoyed, angry, whatever. But I know that deep down, I intend no harm. I intend no malice on anyone. And I always intend to correct my actions, given the opportunity, given the knowledge that I'm doing something wrong. So given all of that, I have come to terms with the fact that, yes, there are people out there that's just not gonna give me the opportunity to correct myself, or just, not even care about me as a person. But realizing that has made me more grateful for the people that do care. And I think it's more of quality of relationship than quantity.
It's just the person with so many friends.
Yeah. Again, like I have a lot of friends, but I think I also use the word friends a bit too loosely. I think a lot of these people are just acquaintances.
Okay.
Yes, some of them are close, some of them are not. There are certain things that keep those friendships alive.
Sure.
Maybe not everything, not all of them are universally friends in that sense. But yeah, like this noticing the hate and noticing the animosity that people have towards me has made me more appreciative for the people
I
that
would also say because you put yourself out there quite a lot. It's also probably what attracts a lot of quote unquote people that
it attracts both. There's people that have the same crazy disease as I do, and that's always great. To be honest, I've been around people who are exactly like me. I find them unbearable.
I mean, that should tell you more about yourself, man.
I know that it's a problem.
To be fair, I think if I were to meet someone like me, I'd probably find them annoying in some ways as well. Yeah, I would say so.
Exactly like you.
Yeah.
That's going to be annoying.
Yeah. I think I will find them annoying because they've probably got the same idiosyncrasies that I know I have. And I know that I sometimes find that annoying. And I'm going to find them doing it annoying.
Exactly.
I would say though, if I meet someone like me, I think we bond over how much we like particular thing, how much we like get into a thing.
Something external.
Yeah,
you would bond. You're not necessarily how alike you are to each other, but like, did you
know this about this? And they're like, oh my god, you know that too!
Yeah.
Like, holy crap!
That's what I think you would enjoy out of that kind of relationship.
Like, isn't it so cool that American law has changed tomatoes categories to vegetables over like tariffs? That's like such a cool information to have, right? Like, oh my god, yes!
Yes, I wish I knew this.
I've never met anyone else who pointed that out as a factoid in, statements. That's so amazing.
Thank you for letting me know.
I'm not insane. Point being.
Coming to what you mentioned earlier about me having a lot of people who I'm friends with, I call them friends. Maybe in reality, there's different names for each of them, but it's just they're either acquaintances or colleagues in that sense.
Yeah.
But
you're using friends as a catch-all term.
As a catch-all term. Most of the people that I am friends, quote unquote, with are only connected because of a common thread that is there. And that common thread is often not as strong as you would think it is. So it's like some people I'm friends with because they are also comedians. So I write with them, I collaborate with them, we hang out, we have a great time. It is a great relationship. It is friendship at the end of the day. But that only exists because of the common denominator we have that is comedy. And outside of comedy, we barely see each other. Like I wouldn't invite them to my bar mitzvah if I were to have one. Well, I am 27 years old.
It's coming up soon.
I'm not even Jewish.
I get what you're saying. Like they're friends in a very particular setting.
I wouldn't call them colleagues either. So like my comedian friends or my creator friends or even like friends that I meet in business circles, I wouldn't call them colleagues necessarily because we do not work, like we go beyond the requirements of a colleague. Mm-hmm. It is very, very collaborative. Like, let me help you do your things better. In return, you will help me do my thing better. Yeah. It's very collaborative. At the end of the day, they don't have to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't have to collaborate with me or work with me or even hang out. Or
like professional friends.
Yeah. So I think that's where like a lot of these relationships have come from, which is why I am extremely blessed with a lot of people in my circle. But not a lot of them are like you in the sense where we do not necessarily have a thing that ties us together. It's just we're friends. There's no, we only hang when we're doing comedy together, or we only hang when we're doing this podcast. You know, we hang outside of this podcast. You know, genuinely enjoy. I hope the time that we spend together.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how certain I am.
Something to really, really think about. That's a real tough one.
Yeah. While Sam thinks about that, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode of this podcast, or maybe 2 episodes. I don't know how long.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes on the edit. I still haven't finished editing all the other episodes, but I feel like I'll just post this one first and then let the others.
Yeah, sure. Like, look, whatever. Like, this isn't, if you expect us to be good at sequencing and planning out this podcast,
Nope.
you have the wrong idea.
You've come to the wrong podcast. Tune away right now. Go listen to, I don't know, a better podcast. What's a better podcast recommendation? Let's recommend other podcasts in our podcast. I think go listen to Ali Abdal, Not Overthinking. A great podcast about two guys who are, guess what? They're not overthinking.
No way.
Yeah. No, they're overthinking all the time. That's exactly the irony in their podcast. But yeah, besides that, thank you so much for listening. We
I can give a
appreciate.
podcast recommendation, yeah?
Oh yeah, go ahead. What recommendation of podcast do you have?
I was gonna say the Adam Ragusa podcast.
Ooh.
It's just something that I have been pretty interested in, but he hasn't posted in a while, or either the platform that I'm using, Spotify,
Okay.
hasn't, like, he's probably not on there.
Mhm.
But the last episode that he posted was in November last year, so it's been a while, but he has done some really interesting food content, probably where he's not the guy that I know the tomato fact about, but he has a lot of good because I'm basically a foodie.
Yeah. So if you want to find out about the other vegetables and
other cool food related facts,
and laws that have been passed.
Adam Ragusa's guy.
So guys, you heard it here. Go and subscribe to their podcasts and listen to them and tell them that we sent you.
Yeah, because
'Cause that's
gonna matter.
gonna matter. Like, forget about
They're gonna thank us
Yeah.
for diverting people their way.
This is called Marketing 101. We know that people are so tired of hearing, oh, please like, share, and subscribe. No, we're like, go subscribe to this other guy.
person? Yeah. And tell them
we sent you, so that they will tell their followers to subscribe to us.
4D chess.
So yeah, thank you so much, Sam, for being my lovely co-host. I don't think I've ever thanked you in one of these episodes.
No.
I think you deserve to be thanked, Sam. Thank you for saying all
First
those
time I'm
nice.
hearing of this. But
Thank you for saying all those nice things about me. It feels good. It feels good to know that my friend thinks I'm a good person. I thought all this while.
dude, this is the annoying part.
Oh yeah, of course. And just so you know, I think you're a decent existence.
By the way, do you know how to use Google?
I knew how to use Google. Google is my
Like,
best friend.
You can just press the app on your phone and use your thumbs.
Use my thumbs.
Put in letters in there.
Oh, put in that.
And see when the morning announcement's gonna be.
But my mommy didn't give me the letters. I don't know how to spell it.
Well, you dum-dum. Me not dum-dum.
Me no dum-dum, you dum-dum. Dum-dum nice, dum-dum good.
Yeah, this will all be cut out in there.
Yeah, we're brain dead. Brain dead right now. End of conversational energy. We're done. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Take care of yourself and don't die.
Thanks for listening, I guess. Okay, bye. Live your life.